Today again, Aunt forgot to close the door. Aunt was busy fingering her legs spread on the bed and holding her mobile in one hand. There was not a single hair on Aunt's body. Sweat was shining on her white body. After a few minutes, Aunt's body started shaking and Aunt was discharged. But as soon as my eyes fell between Aunt's legs. My name is Asa. I was beautiful in appearance and appearance. That's why I was married at a young age and my marriage took place in a very good place. My husband was angry, but he always kept it. If he slapped me twice sometimes, I would bear it because she took care of my every need. In this world, only my mother was the one who got me married and a year later she left this world. Allah blessed me with a daughter first and then with a son. Everything was fine in my life. My husband's family was not a poor family, but gradually their conditions started to improve. They started to become quite rich. My husband was a big, mischievous man. He often told me jokingly that I would get married again and I used to get angry with him. I used to say, "Don't say such things even in a joke." There was no one behind me. A woman who doesn't have a husband is forced to do so anyway. I couldn't complain about it to anyone. Her parents also used to join her in this joke and kept laughing. The days were passing like this. I had a son and a daughter growing up. Everything was fine. Gradually, Mir Ozan started to grow a little. I was still tolerable, but now I was not the same as before. My husband said, "Take care of yourself. Wealth is coming into the house. Food and drink are increasing, so you have started gaining weight. I don't like fat women at all." I said, "I have given birth to 2 children. I cannot live with you as before." She had a maid in the house but now she has removed the maid and asked her to do the housework herself so that her weight will also decrease a little. The maid left the work but one day she met me in the market and she said that earlier she used to eat your salt so she did not want to create any trouble in your house, but I want to tell you one thing. You will not believe me after hearing this, but why would I lie to you now? I do not even do your housework. BBG, you are very innocent. You must not have paid attention. I said, "What, such a thing?" She said that I have some news about your husband. I said, "Tell me." She said that your husband has got married again and it has been a year since this happened. Hearing this, the ground gave way under my feet. I was surprised. Why would that maid lie? But still I said, "That can't be happening. You are lying." She said, "I can show you proof. She lives in another neighborhood. She is your husband's second wife." I had heard about this woman somewhere. She was actually a relative of a friend of my husband's, and when we got married, he had invited her. I had seen that woman. Her appearance was enough to ruin the faith of any man. She had been married before, but now she was divorced and living in her brother's house, and her brother was my husband's friend. That woman had come to my mind and she could do that. But could my husband do that? He always joked. When I was a teenager, she was saying that she had been married for a year. When I came to know this, I was shocked. After that, I also got proof. My husband used to go there and he didn't have any children with this woman. When I came home and told this to my husband, he flatly denied it. I said that I have seen everything. Now don't lie. Then she agreed. She said that it has been a year since we got married. She said that he is a man, he has money, he can do justice in 2 houses. In a year, you also didn't know that I am married. You have no rights. So you shouldn't have any problem with me getting married once or getting married 4 times. I was very sorry. I said that you have deceived me and lied to me. You will have to end the relationship with her. I became stubborn and a fight started in the house. My mother-in-law, Samar, was probably already against me and wanted to bring the other daughter-in-law into this house. She added fuel to the fire and we kept fighting day after day. One day, my husband threw me out of the house and he also kept the children with him. He said that that woman can never become a mother, but I already have 2 children. If you cannot live here with respect, then get out of this house. I have a wife and 2 children. What do I need from you? He threw me out of the house in the middle of the night. I was surprised how in a few days, my humble home had been destroyed. I had no one in this world. I did not understand where to go. Then I remembered that I had an aunt who lived in the same city. My uncle was not in this world. That's why I lost contact with my aunt. My mother said, when your uncle is no more, why keep in touch with your aunt? But she was a widow and I had heard that she lived alone. She would have given me shelter for at least a day or 2. After that, I wondered what to do. So I went to her house. At first, I couldn't find her house. The house she lived in was very small. I asked about her there too. She told me that she lives in the house opposite. When I looked in front, it was a very beautiful house. I knocked and aunt opened the door. I was surprised to see her and it took me a while to recognize her, but she recognized me immediately. She said, "Son, what happened to you here at this time? Are you okay?" I started crying. After a long time, I saw someone I knew. She immediately hugged me and called me in. She gave me water. I asked her everything. I told her. She said, "This man so, don't worry, it's me, right?" I looked at my aunt carefully and was surprised. She used to be very ugly, fat and dark, but nowadays, looking at her, it seemed as if she was not her but a woman. She had become quite slim and smart, looking younger than her age. Her face had also brightened up and she lived in such a beautiful house. She showed me a room and said, "You rest, we will do the rest in the morning." I saw that there was a picture of a man in this room, who was not my uncle at all, nor was he their child. We also knew that she was a woman from this family whom the whole family considered bad, but I knew her a little because I learned to sew from her. My mother was also angry that you should not go to this woman. But for me, she was like a teacher because she had taught me to sew, so I went to her. When she saw me, she recognized me immediately and became very worried about me. When morning came, they had prepared breakfast. Then I told them the whole story in detail. They said, "What will I do?" I said, "I have only 2 options. Either I go back to that barman or I try to get my children from him somehow. You know, there is no one behind me." Auntie said, "How did you do this? Am I not sitting next to you? Am I not with you? Don't worry, I know a very good lawyer. We will do something or the other. Whatever you say, we will do it, but for now, give yourself some time. Think about it." I said that my children will be alone, so Aunt said, "Aren't they his children? If she is his second wife and she is very good to them, then take care of her children too. Loving someone is not that easy. If you love someone, you have to love their parents too. You have to love their children. You have to love their dog too. You have to love everything that is connected to them. In a couple of days, his mind will come to its senses. And he has done so much to you, so will you go back like this? If you have to go back, then go back comfortably. This is the mistake of a woman, that she makes herself too weak." My aunt was absolutely right. I could do whatever I wanted, but I should have at least given her some time. My husband didn't realize that I had no one in this world, so where would I go? Maybe he would have realized and been looking for me. If he had been looking for me, it would have been a while. That was a good thing. There was no shortage of anything in Aunt's house. Every facility in the world was there, whereas before, the house she lived in had only one room and the bathroom was inside the room. I was surprised how Aunt's situation had changed, but I didn't have the courage to ask. Her house had everything in the world. In the evening, she said, "Let's go to the park. There is a park near here where I go every day. Walking helps me lose weight." I said, "My husband used to taunt me about my weight." She said, "I told him that my husband used to taunt me about my weight. And he got angry and said, 'Just come with me.'" We went to the park. After a while, we found a man who came and sat next to my aunt. We understood that he had come to sit. But I was surprised when he had something in his hand. He had a towel and a bottle of water. He came and sat next to us like when you go to a big place. The car window cleaners come and start cleaning the window. Because this man started washing my aunt's feet. I was surprised. My aunt was sitting like this as if this happens every day. He was not even talking. He seemed a little strange. I gestured to my aunt what was happening. My aunt gestured to me that I will tell you later. He washed my aunt's feet very lovingly. After that, he started kissing them and then tied 3 cloves to my aunt's shirt. He got up and left the same way he had come. I said, "What just happened here? Did it really happen? I had a dream. A man had really come here." He said that a man had come and this is what he does. I said, "Why is he?" My aunt said, "He is crazy." One day, I was also scared. I don't know why he is doing this. But let me tell you one thing. Since he started doing all this, my situation has changed. You know, your uncle had passed away and left behind a debt of lakhs of rupees. To pay off that debt, I even worked in people's houses. No family member helped me. I got tired of sewing clothes. Then I used to come to this park in distress and sit alone and start crying. I don't know where he came from and he started doing this work. After that, I met a man. I met him in this park. His wife was not in this world. He married me and he has gone abroad. This is his house and he sends a lot of money abroad. He comes for 2 months a year. And he is my husband. He is hers. All these things are peace in my life. Now all the family members are jealous of me but I don't give anyone a lift. When I saw you, I remembered the days when you were my student. I didn't give you shelter because you were my late husband's niece. I gave you shelter in my house out of humanity and friendship and you know since all this has been happening. Don't look at my appearance. I have changed completely or maybe tension makes a person old and when a person lives in happiness, he becomes young. What are you thinking? I can't believe these things. I was surprised but really what happened to them happened suddenly. I knew that no one in the family liked them and the second marriage was not supposed to be theirs. I don't know how the first marriage happened and if all this was a coincidence. How did my aunts suddenly become so beautiful? They said that you are also thinking that all this is a lie. I said no, it doesn't seem like a lie but I am surprised. My auntie said, I don't know where he comes from or what he does. I don't say anything to him or ask him questions. I said, do you give him money? My aunt said, no, I don't give him anything. I come here and sit here. But the thing is, I come here every day. I never complain. And this is already there. I don't know. I myself still don't understand what is happening. But your family members humiliated me a lot. They treated me like I was untouchable. This person washes my feet, kisses them, and I am also benefiting from it. I said that you have told this to anyone. My aunt said, no, do you think people believe such things? People make up strange things. If I told anyone, people would say that it seems that she is having an affair with this man. But you have seen this man. He is older than my father. My aunt said, just don't tell this to anyone and continue as it is. Now, I used to come to this park with my aunt every night, and this is what used to happen here. I thought that my husband must be looking for me, but I got news from somewhere that my husband doesn't care at all. He has brought his second wife home and kept her in my room. She is using my furniture and living in the same house. Nothing was happening. I was very worried. My aunt used to cry every night. She used to tell me that everything will be done on time. You don't need to worry. Everything will be fine. She could only console me, but nothing was right. It wasn't happening. If I had bowed my head this time, I would have to bow my head for the rest of my life and wouldn't be able to do anything for my children. My aunt also knew about this woman. She said that she had been married to 2 men before. One thing I didn't understand was why my aunt wasn't interested in my case. Maybe she had become like that now. Anyway, it was my case. I should have done something. Then an idea came to my mind like lightning. That's why one day my aunt was busy. She went to the park before the time she usually went to the park. I saw this old man from a distance. I motioned for him to come over and talked to him. I had barely spoken half a word when he hushed me and said, "Don't worry," but he told me something. In the evening, when my aunt was to go, I was to go with her again. But this person didn't tell me that I had come earlier. He kept me errands and I also had something to do. The next day, I mixed sleeping pills in the food of my aunt and her husband and they fell asleep after drinking evening tea. I took out a beautiful pair of my aunt's clothes and put them on and went to the park because she had told me that I had to do that when I went there, I looked very beautiful. These clothes were not very good. I had never worn such clothes. But I was satisfied thinking that there was no one here. This guy had told me that you should come to the park wearing such clothes. I will tie 3 cloves in the hem of your clothes and everything will be fine. When I can change your aunt's situation, why not yours? Your situation will change soon. I had told him that a lot of bad things were going on in my life. I was missing my children a lot. He looked at me and said, "Sit on the bench." But when I looked at the other side of the beach, my soul was destroyed. There was a man sitting there whom I did not know and I saw him. I got up and started to leave, but he held my hand and then I was not able to tell anyone what happened there after that. Then I found out that my aunt actually did something wrong there. That person used to introduce my aunt to new people and that is how she earned all this money. The person who had come to her house, whom she was calling her husband, was not her husband either. I had ruined my honor and I was very sorry. I somehow controlled myself and went to my husband's house without telling my aunt. I apologized to her and told her that I was at a relative's house and missed my children a lot. She said that I had said before that you are my wife and stay in this house. You were the one who was stubborn. Now I used to stay in her house and remain silent. My mother-in-law used to tease me a lot, taunt me, and do strange things to my husband in front of me. But one day my husband found out that she had been flirting with someone even though she was my husband. So my husband got angry and divorced her and apologized to me and said that he would never do such things again and with any other girl. I was getting a lot of peace being with my children again, but what happened to me was very bad. I heard my aunt talk about it. I should take into account the words of the whole family. What is bad once is always bad. But now I couldn't even tell them anything. I am just living my life. I am living by keeping what happened a secret. I can't even tell anyone. But I am telling my story so that no one else, like me, will waste their life in foolishness. Otherwise, how is it possible that what my aunt was telling me would happen? In today's world, halal earnings make up for 2 meals a day. Such actions can only be done through haram work.